Hello, and welcome to another edition of the Nate Moore Show. Our show is brought to you each week by Reliable Heating and Cooling. I'm your host, Andre Poland, and joining me is Coach Moore. Coach, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
Coach, your Tigers won their second straight game, beating Reynoldsburg 41-22. Last week, Friday night, your team is now 2-1. Can you summarize how you felt about that win?
Felt good. I thought the kids went out and played hard, and it's always good to have an outcome that you want in the win. So just happy for our guys, how they played.
Once again, the Tigers' defense played well. They limited Reynoldsburg to just 3 points in the first half. What were the keys in keeping the Raiders' offense bottled up most of the game?
Well, they had a great quarterback, and so he was the key for us. And I thought that we had a good game plan against him. We want to get after the quarterback, and the pressures we called. We were either getting home on the quarterback, we picked up a couple sacks, or we were making contact with them and forcing bad throws. So it was a good game plan, a good execution by the kids. Was really the key to the defensive effort.
Linebacker Camden Baisley led your defense with 9 tackles. Camden also ran back a kickoff for a touchdown and added another rushing touchdown on offense. What more can you tell us about his night?
Well, I mean, that's a pretty good summary. I mean, Cam played really well. He's our Sam linebacker and does a great job out there setting the edge and turning things back in and making tackles for us. But the kick return for a touchdown was maybe the play of the game. They had just scored to go up. And then right after that score, we kick off and we're back in the lead. And so that was a really key moment in the game. And then on his touchdown run also, I mean, he comes in as a sub for Will Hartz, and he goes out with an injury, and everybody's kind of freaking out, I'm sure, but he comes in and takes it right in for a 6. So I'm sure that calmed everybody down.
Defensive back Austin Brawley had a 39-yard interception return from a touchdown and had 4 tackles. He always seems to be around the football, right?
Yeah, he's a great player, very athletic, great speed, a hitter, great ball skills. He's having a great season here early as a defender, and then on special teams, every time he touches the football, he's a threat to score, and we couldn't be happier with the way he's playing right now.
The Tigers' offense continues to get great production from running back Wiltre Harton. Wiltre rushed for 223 yards and scored 2 touchdowns in last week's win over Reynoldsburg. What makes Wiltre such a dominant runner? Well,
he's a special type of running back. He's got good speed, and he also can run with power. But probably his best attribute is once we get him to the second and third level, what he does to the safeties at that level as far as making a miss and changing an 8-yard run into a 30-yard run or a 50-yard run is really what makes him really, really special.
In a moment, we'll talk with a Tiger player, but first, this word from Reliable Heating and Cooling.
There was a time when 10 miles to the gallon was acceptable. Today's 40-plus mile-per-gallon cars weren't even in the rearview mirror back then. Of course, this Lennox air conditioner wasn't on the radar either. It's solar-ready, the quietest, most energy-efficient air conditioner you can own. It's time to live in the now.
Call Reliable Heating and Cooling for the most advanced technology in heating and air conditioning. When you're ready to live in the now, call Reliable Heating and Cooling.
Lennox, innovation never felt so good.
Thank you, Reliable Heating and Cooling. Joining me now is senior offensive tackle, Tay Nash. Tay, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
So, first of all, congratulations on being named a unit leader on this year's team. Can you tell us how you felt when you got that position?
Honestly, how I felt? I felt pretty good, It was a blessing, to have a big opportunity like that. Honestly, wasn't seeing it coming. But I was just working hard, just to earn a spot like that. Have people on the team just look up to me and just perform.
That's all right. Let's go back a little bit, okay? How old were you when you started playing football, and who taught you about the game?
I was four or five, one of the two. My stepdad, he got me into the game of football. Was bringing me to practice. I didn't even know what it was, honestly. I just I was the person that when I seen the ball, I wanted to grab it and just run with it. So I was a little chubbier kid. So when they had me on the offensive line to block, at first I didn't see no fun into that because, I was like, man, when am I going to get the ball? But until I started just plowing kids and just was just on a train of going and just doing it, I was just like, oh, yeah, this is pretty fun. So I was just one of those kids to have a lot of competition for me to have fun, and that's what it was.
That's right. You play right tackle on the Massillon offensive line. Can you describe what kind of skill is necessary to be on that kind of position?
Well, what kind of skill is you got to know what you're doing. It's really technique, so it's like a lot of footwork, pad level, being explosive off the ball, seeing your keys on defense, knowing what to do, studying plays, stuff like that. Because if you don't know what to do and you step on that field, it's like, man, it's going to be chaos. You got to know everything that you're doing. You got to know what that defense is doing. You have to know what your offense is doing. So it's certain things that you have to do and that you have to know so that play or that alignment can be successful.
Okay, well, because of COVID restrictions, the crowds last year were kind of limited. What is it like running out on the field this season and seeing the huge crowds right before kickoff?
Wow, that's a good question, but dude, I was never expecting that like this. I would have never thought, you see a whole bunch of people just tailgating on the other side and you got a whole bunch of people inside just watching you, it's like you in college or something. And it's just like, oh man, I feel like a college player, but then you realize oh, I'm in high school still. But it's just really good to see that because it's like, dang, last year you didn't see that many people here. Couldn't even have my whole family here. But now since my whole family's here and you got more friends and stuff coming, it's like, man, I just love to see this type of stuff. And people I know, they just been waiting on it. So it's really great to see stuff like this, man.
Overall, how do you feel you and the offensive played against Reynoldsburg last week? Well,
we started off slow. I'll give you that. We did start off slow, and that's our main key moving on up is starting off as being a four-quarter team, But I feel like we did good. I feel like we started moving the ball as Massillon Tigers should, as how it's been for the past, 100 years. It's been that way. So, start just getting in the rotation and just keep going and then keep going and wearing that team out because they're going to give up at some point. They don't want to keep getting hit no more. So you got to keep doing it and keep doing it. And that's what we noticed. We like, okay, let's keep this going. Let's keep scoring the ball. Let's keep doing what Massillon Tigers do. All Tigers, all caps. And that's what we've been working on. Just putting them in the meat grinder every time, as my coach say, Coach Moore. Doing that every single time, showing them that we're the number one offense. This is what we do as Massillon Tigers. So,
all right. As a unit leader, what is your message to your teammates as you get ready to face Warren Harding?
The message to my teammates as we face them is we have to keep going and keep moving fast off the ball, make sure we're plowing them, make sure they know we're not a team to keep, backing up. We don't give up, we fight. And we just show them as we stay humble, my thing is we don't want to get a big head. Just because we won a couple more games, that don't mean we just settle on this. We just keep going and stay humble and let's get a ring, go Tigers.
Right on. Thanks, Tay. Coach Moore will rejoin us after we take this timeout on the Nate Moore Show.
I'm never gonna let you go. Never gonna let you go. Babe, I'm never gonna let you go. No, no, never gonna let you go. Baby, never gonna let you go. Never gonna let you go. Babe, I'm never gonna.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Never gonna let you go.
And welcome back to the Nate Moore Show. So, Coach, we spoke with our senior Tay Nash. Tell us more about Tay. What does he bring to the Tiger football program?
Well, he's turned himself into a pretty good offensive tackle. You know, a year ago, he was a little bit out of shape, didn't come off the ball real well, struggled with a good edge rush, but he's had a fantastic offseason. He's in great shape right now. He's playing really well. He's become a great pass protector. Our right side for our quarterbacks is as secure as they've ever been. And he's getting great movement in the run game. So he's turned himself into a really good offensive tackle, but he's also one of our unit leaders. So he leads a group of about 10 guys, and does a fantastic job with that. You know, has respect of everybody on the team.
Your kicker, Shane Rue, was 2 for 2 in field goal tries and 3 for 3 on extra points in last week's win over Reynoldsburg. What were your expectations when it came to seeing Shane take over the kicking duties for your team?
We felt good about Shane coming into the year. We knew that he struck the ball well last year and was an accurate kicker for us. You know, he would have been the next guy in possibly for us, especially with extra points. But he's certainly exceeded expectations. He's not just able to make extra points and shorter field goals, but he's a guy that we'd feel comfortable kicking a 38, 40, 42-yard field goal with. He's also developing as a punter, and he's doing great with kickoffs. You know, put a couple in the end zone. So, yeah, really happy with Shane and his development.
This week, your Tigers played their first road game on the season as we traveled to Warden to face the Harding Raiders this Friday night. What can you tell us about the Raiders?
They're a good football team, very athletic quarterback, and Don Foster, runner first, you know, threat to go to the distance every time he touches the ball. He's committed to Syracuse. There's a second quarterback that they play some, number 10, Dallas Jet. He throws a little bit better ball, but Don Foster seems to be their main guy. They're physical up front. They've got a good little scat back running back. They've got some taller, athletic receivers, and they're really good on defense. Both their defensive ends are really, really good. Both their corners are good. Don Foster plays one of the corner spots. Like I said, he's going to Syracuse. Pretty much all their edge players in their defense are really good, so we got to go out there and play well.
Warden Harding and Massillon have played each other for a long time in football. It's nice to have like a constant home-and-home contact with Harding, isn't it?
Yeah, it's great. You know, they're a traditional rival. You know, they're one of the old All-American Conference teams, and so Massillon's played them a ton. Second most compared to Canton McKinley. So, you know, it's a great old rivalry, and we enjoy going up there.
I know you like to have at least one away game scrimmage each year before starting the regular season. How does that help get your players ready to play on the road?
Well, you know, just the more you do things, the more you get used to it. So, you know, knew that our first 3 games were at home, and so we already had one away scrimmage scheduled, just you know, because we scrimmage Avon every year. But I certainly didn't mind the trip to Cincinnati for our second scrimmage, just because, like you said, help prepare us for the few away games that we do have, especially these longer trips to Warren and Fitch that's coming up. So, yeah, like I said, just the more you do things, the more, you know, you're prepared and you're not sitting around thinking, what's this going to be like? The kids already know.
We want to thank Coach Moore and Tiger Senior Tay Nash for joining us on the show this week. The Nate Moore Show has been brought to you by Reliable Heating and Cooling. I'm your host, Andre Poland, and thanks for watching, and always, go Tigers.
Hello, and welcome to the Stark County Humane Society. Today we're going to give you a few pointers when considering adopting a new furry friend. All animals here at the Stark County Humane Society are spayed, neutered, microchipped, vaccinated, dewormed, and if old enough, heartworm tested for our canine friends. Adopters will receive a free exam within 2 weeks of adoption at local veterinarian hospitals. We encourage all adopters to take full advantage of this. A one-time adoption fee is required for your new furry friend. When you adopt, you get an awesome adoption packet that includes treats for your new fur baby and savings for you. But this is not where the cost of adoption stops. Did you know the average cost of an animal like a new puppy or kitten can cost up to $500 annually? This includes annual veterinarian visits, preventative care, and everyday supplies like crate, litter, food, toys. But I hope this doesn't scare you away. Adopting an animal is a huge responsibility and a commitment. Please take the time to consider the cost of adopting a new pet into your family today. I hope to see you soon at the Stark County Humane Society. Please visit our website or visit us on social media for more information.
Massillon City Schools is proud to have one of the top career technical education programs in the state of Ohio, recently receiving a #1 ranking of the 93 districts in the area of achievement. Our Career Technical Education Department offers 14 pathways preparing students for college and careers. All students have the opportunity to participate and compete in their career technical student organization, as well as obtain valuable experience in the field while earning aligned industry credentials and/or college credit in high school. Visit massillonschools.org for more information.
Sing it! We will rock you. Everybody, we will rock you.
Welcome to this week's edition of Swing, featuring Tiger Swing Band director Jason Neel. We're on the air with you every Wednesday night, following The Nate Moore Show. Our show is brought to you by Howard's Tiger Rags in downtown Massillon. I'm your host, Rachel Wusky, and with me is Mr. Neel. Welcome to the show, Mr. Neel.
Thanks for having me, Rachel.
Yeah. First up, let's talk about last week's halftime show. It was military night at the game last Friday. How did the performance go?
I thought the band did a good job. We had worked very quickly, and we worked quite a bit on God Bless America, getting that music memorized and sounding good in just 1 week's time. We weren't even aware that we were going to be doing that until the weekend before. So we started working on that on Tuesday for Friday's game. So I was proud of the students and the way that all came off. That made a huge improvement in a very short amount of time. So we thought that went well. It's always good to honor and thank those who serve us, especially our military. So it was a good night overall at the game.
Yeah. The swing band also performed at the Stark County Fair last Tuesday. Tell us more about that.
That was an interesting performance because it had rained the day of the show, and that track there is not a full football field, and we didn't actually get to go practice on that track, so it was a very quick adjustment. We had to actually adjust because there was a lot of mud on the field, so we did more standing and playing than we normally would, but we felt for the safety of the students actually that we didn't want to do our very quick marching through this muddy field. So I thought the kids sounded great and they looked great, and I was really proud of them for adjusting and adapting our show right on the fly. So never done that before exactly like that. We had a little meeting right before we performed and said this is what we're going to do, and we didn't have any practice and we just went out and did it. So kids did a good job.
Since we started another school year, I know that the band is involved with a lot of fundraisers. Are there any current fundraisers going on that you'd like to share with the viewers?
Well, right now we're actually getting ready to start a couple fundraisers. Nothing currently as we sit here, but our fruit and nut sale will be coming up here very shortly, and we're going to be doing our pepperoni roller sale again, which is always a big hit with people. And so we had some new pepperoni rollers last year with like an Italian, some banana peppers, and really great stuff. So we're looking forward to those sales coming up.
Speaking of fundraisers, I know that you get support from these fundraisers from your Booster Club. In what other ways does the Booster Club assist with the band?
Well, our Booster Club is invaluable to the operations of the band, and we have just some great volunteer help with our parents who do so much work. And I'd just like to give a little shout out to our, I could name them all, but just real quick, our president is Laura Miller, and our vice president is Nicole Morgan, and just their crew do such a great job. I mean, the money they raise in the concession stands alone, and as well as some of these other fundraisers, I mean, they're buying instruments and uniforms and feeding the band. You know, like on this week's road game, we're going to have to feed the band before we, go to the game, and just buying music and buying so much to get the band going. It's a very expensive organization and operation. So, but they provide chaperones, and they provide, driving the band truck from place to place, and just our parents do so much to volunteer and help. Our uniform crew, Bill Joseph and his crew just do a great job of getting our kids looking great and keeping those uniforms fitted to all the people. And they're fixing. Sometimes a uniform will rip right before halftime. We had this last week. Somebody was ready to go out and march, and there was they were kneeling down and stood up, and their pants ripped right before the show. And our boosters are right there to help and fix those things right on the spot. So our parents do so much for us, and we could not do this job without them.
Mm-hmm. We'll have more with Mr. Neel here on Swing. But first, this word from Howard's Tiger Rag.
Howard's Tiger Rags in downtown Massillon has the best selection of tiger apparel in the area. And once again, Howard's Tiger Rags is the proud sponsor of the Swing TV show on WHS-TV. Be sure to check out their large selection of infant and toddler apparel. You can even dress up your favorite pet in tiger gear. See their large selection of memorabilia along with mugs and glasses and your favorite tiger jewelry. How about a license plate holder or a tiger hat? Howard's has one to fit your style. Stop in at Howard's Tiger Rags in downtown Massillon, and don't forget to like them on Facebook.
Thank you, Howard's Tiger Rags. And welcome back to Swing. The annual Orndike Ford Band Review is back this year. This year's review is on Saturday, September 18th at Paul Brown Tiger Stadium. Tell us more about the show, and how do people get tickets?
Well, we sell tickets at the gate only for that night. That way, if it were to rain out or anything like that and we need to get canceled, we don't have to return money and things like that. So they can buy their tickets right at the gate. Show starts at 7, so I believe the tickets will go on sale 5:30 or 6 o'clock that night. But all these details are on our website, tigerswingband.com. We're having, 7 or 8 high school visiting bands come that night. Plus, we're going to have our alumni band back this year, which I always like to throw a shout out. Any alumni band watching, go to tigerswingband.com and get registered for that. It's a 2 o'clock rehearsal the day of the show, and we're going to have a dinner for the alumni band, and then they perform right first number of the second half of the show that night. So we're hoping to have a great night on September 18th at the band review.
Our Tiger players have their first road game of the season this Friday night at Warren Harding. Do you change your rehearsal schedule or the way you rehearse at all based on away games?
Well, it's kind of nice for an away game. It gives us a little bit more time, not so much for the away game, but it allows us to get ahead on our next home show. So we'll spend some of our rehearsal time reviewing for this Friday, But most of our rehearsal this week's actually going to be learning the following show for the St. Ed's game. So it gets us caught up. We like away games, so we get to repeat a show and we get to kind of to work ahead. So other than that, we're, you know, and we're not having to learn the, you know, or review our pregame show. So since we're only doing the halftime show.
When you perform at an away game, the band always plays to the home side of the stadium. What's your best story involving a crowd reaction at an away game?
This is a really interesting and a good question. Just off the top of my head, I can remember being at Steubenville one year where the crowd just went crazy for one of our shows. I don't even remember what show we did, but they were going crazy for our band, and it was almost felt like a home crowd reaction. And then the second half of that game, I'll never forget this. We were playing in the middle of the, you know, in between plays or at a timeout or something like that in the game. And this referee started walking toward me. And I thought we were going to be in trouble or something, that he was saying, you know, you guys can't be playing. And he just coming straight toward me, and I was kind of like, oh no. And then he just walked up to me and he got close enough, and he, you know, he signaled to me and he pointed right at me. He goes, "That's a great band you got there."
Aww.
So it was really kind of cool that night. We really felt like we were welcomed in that stadium, at least from a band point of view.
Yeah. And finally, please give us details about this week's halftime show as our Tigers take on Warren Harding.
Well, this week we're planning to revise our second show, which is our triple threat. We had our acting, dancing, and singing theme. So that would be Land of Make-Believe and Fantasia, Dancing Queen, and Sing, featuring our vocal soloist, Carson Bratton, once again. So we've got a good reaction from that, and hopefully the Warren fans will have a good reaction to it as well.
That will do it for this edition of Swing. Swing is brought to you each week by Howard's Tiger Rags in downtown Massillon. I'm your host, Rachel Wesky. Thanks for watching, and as always, go Tigers.
Bye, sweetie. I love you.
Bye, Mommy. I love you.
No matter where life takes you, MCTV helps make sure you're never far from home.
Hi. Are you being good for Daddy?
Yes. Can we read a bedtime story?
MCTV connects you to home because that's what matters most.
Good night. Sweet dreams.
MCTV. We go the extra smile.